Do you remember this trailer? If you like Duke Nukem, you probably do. It's the 2001 E3 trailer, and with that bit of the game recently leaking, I decided to go back and see if what the game eventually became was as awful as 16-year-old me and plenty of others felt it was. Duke Nukem 3D was only about 5 years old when this trailer dropped, and it looked badass, just like a Duke Nukem game should, and while the build at this point was far from finished, it's still so far from what we ended up getting.
That is... I mean, I don't understand any of it, but I bet if I did, that guy over there would still have his arm.
Here's looking at you, kid.
Duke Nukem Forever is a mess. Even after 15 years without Duke, this game was immediate proof that we couldn't always bet on him. Gearbox had taken over during the game's insanely long development cycle, and my cousin and I were stoked to pick the game up on launch. Just like so many others, we weren't very happy with what we got. The combat is fine, the gunplay works, which I can only hope would have come from the folks who made the Borderlands games. The Ripper's great, and so is the shotgun. RPG is too. Do you know what immediately ruins that though? Only being able to carry 2 fucking guns at a time. The Call of Duty-fication of these games is a disaster, and is what pissed me off the most when I was playing through it. And honestly, the melee combat is pretty damn fun though, especially on steroids. Enemies getting jibbed by Duke's fist never gets old, though steroid use didn't pop up as often as I would have liked it to, which feels like a massive missed opportunity to add more fun to the game.
Raining blood, baby.
Combat when you're Mini Duke works well enough, but I really didn't care for the sections where this popped up. There's an entire driving section where you're in an RC car, but I could have done without the section entirely, and really could have done without the whole damn thing. The platforming is the focus of these Mini Duke sections, and I lost interest in it pretty fast, which sucks given that most if not all of the Duke Burger level is Mini Duke platforming. The boss fights work. There are a couple of recurring boss fights, and the fight against the mothership is about as straightforward as any of them get since you spend it all inside of a turret. The entire sequence may have well been an on-rails shooter as you handle everything from a set point while the continuous waves come towards you. It's a simple design, but it's not horrendous. Is it boring? Sure, but I wouldn't call it bad, and it would have been more fun with some sort of mobility given to the player. Those repeated fights are against the battle boss, and the humiliations are pretty funny.
Right in the jewels.
The fight against the Octa King was probably my least favorite in the game. It isn't impossibly hard or anything, but there are 2 separate phases, and the second half limits mobility, which can be pretty frustrating. Even with all the negatives, the game did inspire some things in other games. And it's definitely been inspired by other games too.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Vehicle combat takes center stage pretty often throughout the game, from the early RC car section in the Lady Killer Casino to this grenade launcher section, which leads into one of my favorite parts of the entire game, the monster truck section. It's a super goofy portion that relies on its own simplicity to be fun. Duke even happens to be forklift certified, and frankly, you know what? Good for him. One of my biggest gripes with Duke Nukem Forever though, it's the graphics. This game looks like someone made it then dumped a few million gallons of Vaseline on it. It's wild considering other games that came out this year like, I don't know, Battlefield 3? The graphics obviously could have been much better. Even if it doesn't break the game, I never really enjoyed looking at it. Not at all, the leaked 2001 build looks better.
However, we've got even more immediate problems. They're taking our women, Duke. I think you understand the implications here. Screw the dam. Where are they taking...
The story isn't far removed from what you'd expect from a Duke Nukem game. It's still got a very 90s FPS mindset to the plot. The side clues we know from the past game in the series have returned, and they're stealing the women while killing everything else. It's up to Duke to stop them. Sound familiar? Of course it does. The president's trying to be diplomatic, but come on now, these alien bastards have to pay. It functions as a vehicle to let me shoot things, and I'll take it. It's hard to criticize it when it's already spread pretty thin, and I don't think I'd want more from the story in this game anyway. It's Duke Nukem in theory, but not so much in practice. This game has more Call of Duty in its DNA than Duke Nukem at points, between the weapon system and generating health, but I don't think it's as awful as I thought it was in 2011. Is it great? No. Good? No, not really. Middling and worth picking up on an absurd discount during a seasonal sale on Steam? Hell yeah.